For years, sleep was a battle, a restless, unrewarding struggle. My nights were a blur of tossing, turning, and staring at the ceiling. Doctors offered pills. Therapists suggested breathing exercises. Nothing worked. My mind was a restless humming engine, and true rest felt like a myth. I yearned for that deep, restorative slumber, those vibrant waking dreams others spoke of. My search for a fix became a desperate late-night ritual. I scoured forums, obscure academic papers, fringe science blogs. That's how I found it. Not a doctor's prescription, but a strange, niche online community, buried deep in the web, hidden behind layers of encryption and invitation-only access. It called itself the Somnium Weave. They promised more than just sleep. They promised conscious sleep. Perfect shared dreams. A collective unconsciousness where you could explore, create, even learn. A way to bypass the chaos of the waking world and tap into a deeper reality. It sounded insane, like a digital cult, but the testimonials? They were compelling, detailed, so profoundly helpful, and I was desperate enough to believe. Their method was simple. Download their proprietary audio program, calibrate it to your unique brainwave patterns with a simple headset, and play it at a specific frequency during sleep. No drugs, no meditation, just sound. I did it. I downloaded the program, calibrated the headset, and that night, for the first time in years, I went to bed with something other than dread. I went to bed with a strange, compelling anticipation. The promise of perfect sleep. I had no idea what kind of dreams I was truly inviting in. The first night, it was unlike anything I've ever experienced. The tones hummed gently in the headset, lulling me into a state of effortless calm. My mind, usually a restless current, became a still, deep lake. I sank, and I truly slept. Deeply. Completely. And the dreams, they were spectacular, vibrant, immersive. I soared through impossible landscapes, conversed with forgotten figures, painted masterpieces with a single thought. There was no effort, no struggle, just pure, unadulterated lucidity and joy. I woke up feeling utterly transformed, refreshed, energized. It was everything the forum had promised. My skepticism began to melt away, replaced by a profound, almost zealous belief. But then it started. Tiny, almost imperceptible ripples in the perfection. In one dream, as I walked through a vibrant, impossible garden, I caught a fleeting glimpse, a symbol etched onto a shimmering leaf. It was intricate, geometric, somehow familiar, but when I tried to focus, it blurred, vanished. I told myself it was just a typical dream distortion, the mind playing tricks, you know? In another dream, I was flying, euphoric, and then a sound, just a brief, discordant note, like a single off-key violin string plucked in the silence of space. It vibrated in my chest, a jarring anomaly in an otherwise perfect symphony of sleep. I dismissed it, my brain probably trying to process something from the waking world, but it wasn't just once. The symbol, or the discordant note, or sometimes just a fleeting shadow at the very edge of my dream vision would reappear, like tiny, persistent static in a perfect signal. I chose to ignore it. A small price to pay, I thought, for such perfect slumber. I was so wrong. The perfect slumber didn't last. The anomalies became bolder, no longer fleeting glimpses. That intricate, impossible symbol would burn into the very fabric of my dreamscapes. Impossible to ignore. The discordant note would become a persistent, grating hum in the background of my most vivid dreams. And the shadowy figures, they started to linger, just at the edge of my vision. Not threatening, but undeniably there, watching. I went back to the forum, to the Somnium Weave's online community. I needed to know if I was losing my mind. And that's when the real terror began. Other users posting about their dreams, the symbols, the discordant hum, the lingering shadows. They were describing my dreams, precisely, down to the most unsettling detail. What I thought was personal hallucination was a shared reality. We were all seeing it. The dreams themselves began to shift. The euphoria vanished, replaced by a growing anxiety. I'd find myself in familiar dreamscapes, but they were subtly wrong. The vibrant colors dulled, the sounds muted. I'd be running, but my legs felt heavy, trying to scream, but no sound came out. That sense of being watched intensified. I wasn't exploring anymore. I was trapped, and the harder I tried to lucidly wake myself, the deeper I seemed to sink into a cold, suffocating dread. The weave was no longer a beautiful escape. It was a prison. We weren't just sharing dreams. We were sharing a nightmare, and something was weaving it. Something that was now very much aware of us. All of us. And I didn't know if I could ever truly wake up again. Waking didn't offer any escape. Not anymore. It offered a transition. My mornings began not with clarity, but with a lingering haze. A residual anxiety from the shared nightmare. The world felt thinner, like a veil stretched too tight, ready to tear. The sounds started first. In the quiet hum of my refrigerator, I'd hear it. That faint, persistent, discordant note from the dreams. Brief, gone the moment I focused, were the subtle, layered whispers from the silence of my apartment, just beyond the edge of hearing, like distant conversations, always just out of reach, but undeniably there. I'd snap my head around, listen intently, but find nothing, just the silence, a silence that now felt aware. Then came the visuals, fleeting, elusive, the symbol, that intricate, impossible pattern from the dream. I'd see it for a fraction of a second, on the grain of the wooden table, in the folds of the curtain, etched onto dust on my windowsill. A momentary flicker, a trick of the light, then gone. Or shadows. Not natural shadows. Shadows that seemed to deepen impossibly in the corner of my eye. Or move with a deliberate, unnatural slowness, only to vanish when I turned. My own reflection in the mirror would sometimes seem subtly distorted for just a breath, like water rippling. I couldn't trust my senses, couldn't trust reality. Was I truly seeing and hearing these things, or was the nightmare bleeding into my mind, even when I was awake? Sleep offered no escape. Waking offered no solace. The line between them blurred, dissolved. I was perpetually exhausted. My thoughts a constant, frantic search for the seam between what was real and what was the dream weaver's insidious design. Every time I closed my eyes, I knew I was sinking back in. The world became a kaleidoscope of fractured reality. I saw things, heard things, Every moment was a desperate struggle to hold on to coherence. But the true battle, the one I was steadily losing, that was in the dark. That was in the grip of the Weaver. I'd fall asleep or simply drift, and immediately I'd be back. Not in a dream. This was a place, a dark, vast expanse of nothingness. Yet, I knew it. It was the collective nightmare, and I was trapped. I'd try to move, to scream, but my body wouldn't obey. Sleep paralysis, but this wasn't just my own fear. Something was there. It communicated, not with words I could understand, but with pure, intrusive thoughts, feelings, dread, contempt. It moved around me, presence made of pure sonic pressure, pressing down, suffocating. I felt an invisible weight on my chest, a crushing force that mimicked my deepest fears. My mind screamed, but my voice was stolen. I was utterly powerless, bound within my own terrified consciousness. I saw impossible things in that space. My own hands dissolving into shimmering static. My body stretching, twisted, being pulled apart by unseen forces made of pure, discordant sound. The pain was absolute, visceral. Even though it was a dream, it was more real than waking. And the Weaver, it was smiling. I could feel its malevolent amusement as it tore at the edges of my sanity, pulling me deeper into its fabric. I knew with a horrifying certainty that my mind was no longer my own. It was becoming another thread in its design. It has its grip. I can't wake up. I see faces on the patterns of the wallpaper that aren't there. Hear phantom melodies from the sleep program in the hum of my own thoughts. The symbol, it's etched onto my eyelids, burned into my vision. I try to reach out, to find a handhold in the solid world. My fingers pass through air that feels thick, like water, like silk. The threads of the weave. Sleep offers no solace, only deeper immersion. The shared nightmare isn't just a dream I visit. It's the world we live in. The Weaver, it's woven itself into every fiber of my consciousness. My memories, they feel borrowed. My thoughts, they feel aligned. Part of a larger, terrifying thread tapestry. Now. Just a thread. There's no escape. Only this endless, quiet hum. The Weaver is listening through me. They always, always. Stay tuned.